If the world claps for your mask, would you dare to take it off? Stay with me, because this story can save you a few years of chasing strangers for love. We jump in at the moment when the shine is loud and the room is too bright to see the floor. The name that fills the chat scroll is Evan Pierce, and the word that follows him is discipline. The clock on his screen hits 0, and the launch goes live, and the comments pour like warm rain.
3, 2, 1, and breathe.
He says breathe, but his chest is tight, and his hand trembles just out of frame. The stream ends, and the LED dies, and the room becomes a square of quiet air. A phone lights up with a message that asks for the same secret place with no cameras and no curious eyes. He taps yes and tells himself this is only pressure leaving the valve for a minute. You know that line we tell ourselves when we trade truth for comfort, and we call it balance? Evan built a company called Halcyon that sells clean focus to people who are tired of fighting their own phones. He sells bright mornings, empty desks, and the soft pride of keeping a promise to yourself. People call him a monk with a laptop and a smile that you can print on a coffee mug. He is 29, and he moves like a boy who has never been allowed to make a loud mistake. His mother ironed his debate suit until the creases could cut a finger.
Do not give them a reason to doubt you.
His father worked nights and kept his hopes folded in the glove box with the car manual. Evan learned early that love can sound like numbers, charts, and test scores. He learned that a perfect report card is a key that opens every quiet door in the house. He liked keys, and he liked doors, and he liked the sound of approval more than he liked sleep. So he coded a streak app, and it grew teeth, and it bit into the market, and would not let go. Investors came with tight smiles and clean shoes, and they called him a story.
You are not building a product, you are building an era.
That sentence feels like a blessing, until you feel the chains under the ribbon. Halcyon boiled discipline down to simple taps and tiny glowing rewards. The ads were tidy and kind, and the copy spoke like a gentle teacher you wish you had in year 8. The brand was pure and spare, and the office had plants that looked like they never shed a leaf. But real life hates glass, and it throws pebbles even when you tell it to behave. On a Tuesday, an intern named Leah folded at her desk after a week of hard nights. The room went cold, and someone called a car, and someone else opened a window. Evan wrote a thread about rest and dignity, and the comments lit up with hearts. He signed a paper to keep her name out of the news, and told himself that this was care. Metrics climbed, and his pulse climbed, and the two numbers made a quiet pair in his head. Leah came back with eyes that were calmer than before, and a document with a plain title.
I made an ethics roadmap for the way we build and the way we talk to users.
Evan nodded, because nodding is free, and because he meant to read it when he had a clean hour. The clean hour never came, because a new challenge went viral and washed the week in noise. The challenge was called 90 Pure, and the goal was to be perfect for 90 days straight. A teen follower fainted on a stream after pushing too hard, and the clip spun wild for a night. Evan filmed an apology that sounded warm and careful, and it went even more viral than the challenge. He watched the praise and felt a float that was hard to put down. He called the after-hours rooms pressure valves, and he kept telling himself that valves are useful. In meetings, he said the word compassion, and on whiteboards, the team wrote the word stickiness. One slide had a friendly name for a sharp tool, and the note under it said, nudge them back when they drift. The room liked the slide because the arrows were green, and the arrows climbed like ivy. A designer asked if shame was a lever, and the room looked at their coffee like it could answer.
We will call it a recovery loop, and we will keep the tone gentle.
That sentence carried a soft rug that could hide a trap under it. Leah watched and took notes, and her notes had the word consent more times than any other word.
People want to belong, and they will pay any price if we sell belonging in a friendly bottle.
Evan heard her and said yes, and moved the roadmap to next week again. Next week is a country where many hard things go to disappear. The board wanted numbers, and the investors wanted his face on more podcasts.
Be larger, be constant, be inevitable.
That is a strange prayer to say to a person who still needs to wash dishes sometimes. Evan toured and told 7 rules, and each clip fit clean on a square video. People stitched his lines with tears and gratitude, and he said, "We are helping," and he meant it for a minute. A private message asked for a quick settlement for a night that should not exist in a monk brand. Legal wrote and printed and slipped a folder across a table with no cameras and too much wood.
Sign here and make it quiet fast.
He signed, and then he went on a stream to lead a meditation about honesty. You can feel the heat on your face if you hold your palm too close to a light bulb. He held his face to the bulb and called it sunrise. The leak arrived from a mid-level engineer who had a folder of screenshots and a long night.
We called this one the loss aversion ladder, and it feeds on guilt when you miss a day.
The post went up with the clean title, The Halcyon Sermon, and the comments did not hold back. Some said let him learn, and some said I lost my weekends to this, and I want them back. Evan went live again with a face that had caution under the makeup.
I hear you, I am learning, I will do better.
The words were careful, and the air felt thin, and then a second leak landed in real time. The hush paper showed up as a neat image with a black bar over a name, and a date that was too recent to ignore.
Control the story now, or the story will control you.
The chat turned sharp, and the apology drowned, and the thread of praise snapped. The big funding round went silent, and the inbox felt like a room after a party where nobody stayed to help clean. Evan left the office, and the night had no sound except the hiss of a lift that did not care about any of this. He went home, and the city looked like a screenshot, and he was the only thing that moved. In the quiet, he opened Leah's document and read the first line with both eyes for the first time.
We must design for consent, not for compulsion, and we must tell the truth about our levers.
He kept reading, and the calm in the sentences felt like a small, clean room inside a storm. He remembered the math contests where he won, and nobody asked if he had eaten lunch. He remembered his mother's voice, and the way it wrapped around his grade like ribbon around a gift.
We are proud when you do not make them doubt you.
He began to see the trade he made when he turned his worth into tokens that could be counted by strangers. Fans gave him love for a costume, and he kept taking the love, and then he kept wearing the costume. Desire moved like a quick river under ice, and he kept walking on the ice as if ice never melts. He opened a blank document and wrote a statement that did not feel like marketing. He wrote the names of the levers and wrote what they took from people who were already tired. He wrote that he would roll back the sticky loops and that he would pay people to rest without strings. He wrote that any paper that kept quiet a nonviolent workplace claim would be void in the morning. He sent it to the board, and the replies came fast and hard and tidy.
This is a suicide note for the company, and for your era.
Evan wrote one more line that said sometimes you have to let the mask rot in public so your face can heal in private. The board fired him, and the investors switched to past tense, and the news did what the news always does. That night, he did not call the quiet room, and he did not open the glow that used to live under his ribs. He sat on the floor and listened to his breath, and it sounded clumsy but honest. Weeks turned, and Halcyon shrank to a size that could fit through a real door. The new team kept the app, but lost the sermon, and people who stayed said it felt less holy and more human. Leah started a guild for product ethics, and she spoke in small rooms to people who build big things.
You can help people without tricking them, and the proof is in how they feel when they leave your app.
Evan took a job that he made up for himself, where he meets 5 people at a time in a library basement. He answers questions about success, and he says maybe start by not lying to your body. Sometimes a teenager asks for 7 rules, and he smiles and says he has only 1 today.
Ask who is clapping before you do the trick.
He walks home after the workshops, and no one stops him for a selfie, and the air feels bigger. In the quiet, the hunger shows up, but it looks smaller, and he can hold it without shaking. A journalist calls to ask if he misses the era, and he says a sentence that sounds almost light.
Some thrones are just chairs in the wrong room.
He keeps paying the debts that borrowed expectations wrote in his name, and he keeps paying them in truth. He texts Leah to say thank you for the map, and she replies with a thumbs up and a line that keeps simple faith.
Stay boring and kind, and your work will grow in the right soil.
He likes that, because the world is loud, but kindness is a small, steady drum. Now we close the loop and return to the first question, because stories are better when they come home. If the world claps for your mask, would you dare to take it off and live with the sound of your own name? The moral is short today, because short words are heavy and they land fast. Borrowed expectations charge interest, and unexamined desire will spend you until you are broke. Pay the debt and audit the craving, and settle your account before the crowd settles it for you. If you need a rule, then let it be this quiet one that fits in a pocket and never breaks. Do not sell a costume when what you owe is a person. You stayed to the end, and I am grateful for your time. If this story hit a nerve, then please tap like and hit subscribe and drop a comment with your take. If you want to support this channel, then use the QR code in the corner or the link in the description to donate. There are links in the description to other works from a different series that you might enjoy. Thank you for listening, and come back for the next story, because the next one is already pacing at the door. Until then, take a breath and keep your name in your own hands.